Again, good day. This is the second part of my discussion of nationalism. I'm going to discuss an article written by one of Filipino historian. His name is Professor Renato Constantino. Bago ko talakayin ang kanyang artikulo, kilalanin muna natin siya. Si Professor Renato Constantino ay kilala sa tawag na katato by his colleagues. Constantino was born on March 10, 1919 and died on September 15, 1999. He dedicated his life to the cause of Philippine national sovereignty, democratic rights, peace, and social justice. He is known for being part of the leftist tradition of Philippine historiography. The article that I'm going to discuss is the miseducation of the Filipino. According to Professor Renato Constantino, education is a vital weapon of a people striving for economic emancipation, political independence, and cultural renaissance. We are such a people. Philippine education, therefore, must produce Filipinos who are aware of their country's problems, who understand the basic solution to these problems, and who care enough to have courage to work and sacrifice for their country's salvation. His first topic is nationalism in education. Dito, pinapahiwatig niya na noong panahon ng Amerikano, ang mga Filipino businessmen at industrialist ay nagkaisa at nakibaka para sa iisang advokasya, ang Filipino First Policy. This was their intermediate goal. Indeed, there has been much nationalist activity in many areas of endeavor, but we have yet to hear of a well-organized campaign on the part of our educational leaders for nationalism in education. Bakit nga ba? Although most of our educators are engaged in the lively debate on techniques and tools for the improved instructions, not one major educational leader has come out for a truly nationalist education. Again, the question is, bakit nga ba? And this is a tragic situation because the nationalist movement is crippled at the outset by a citizenry that is ignorant of our basic ills and is apathetic to our national welfare. New perspective. Some of our economic and political leaders have gained a new perception of our relations with the United States, a result of their second look at Philippine-American relations since the turn of the century. The majority of our educational leaders, however, still continue to trace their direct lineal descent to the first soldier teachers of the American Invasion Army. They seem oblivious to the fact that the educational system and philosophy of which they are proud inheritors were valid only within the framework of American colonialism. Sinasabing ang sistema na pinairal sa ating edukasyon ay nakabase sa educational system ng Amerikano at kinakailangan na ito ay akma dahil nananaig ang kolonyalismong Amerikano sa politika at ekonomiya natin sa panahong iyon. Capturing minds. The most effective means of subjugating a people is to capture their minds. Isa sa mabisang paraang ginamit ng mga mananakop ay ang paghubog ng ating kaisipan. Education, therefore, serves a weapon in wars of colonial conquest. Beginnings of colonial education. The education of the Filipino under American sovereignty was an instrument of colonial policy. The Filipino has to be educated as a good colonial. Young minds had to be shaped to conform to American ideas. Indigenous Filipino ideals were slowly eroded in order to remove the last vestiges of resistance. Ginamit ng mga Amerikano ang kahinaan ng mga katutubo upang malaya nilang malupig ang ating diwang makabayan at maakit sa kanilang sistema. The American Vice Governor. During that time, kahit may kapasidad ang isang Pilipino na humawak ng isang tungkulin, the Department of Education was never entrusted to any Filipino. Bakit? Dahil ito ang tinadhana sa Jones Act ng Estados Unidos. Up to 1935, therefore, the head of this department was an American. Pero dumating din naman ang panahon na ang kagawaran ng edukasyon ay napangasiwaan ng Pilipino. Ito ay noong panahon ng Commonwealth. This does not mean, however, that nothing that was taught was of any value. We became literate in English to a certain extent. We were able to produce more men and women who could read and write. We became more conversant with the outside world, especially the American world. Pero ang tanong ay, nakalimutan na nga ba natin ang ating diwang makabayan kapalit ng kaalaman natin sa Ingles? Unfortunately for us, the success of education as a colonial weapon was complete and permanent. Goals of American education. The educational system established by the Americans could not have been for the sole purpose of saving the Filipinos from illiteracy and ignorance. Ano ba ang kanilang layunin? The Filipinos had to be trained as citizens of an American colony. Despite the noble aims announced by the American authorities that the Philippines was theirs to protect and guide, the fact still remained that these people were a conquered nation whose national life had to be woven into the pattern of American dominance. Ang pananatili ng mga Amerikano sa ating bansa at ang pagpapalawak ng kanilang sistema sa edukasyon ay isang indikasyon lamang na tayo ay kontrolado ng mga banyagang ito. An uprooted race. The first and perhaps the masterstroke in the plan to use education as an instrument of colonial policy was the decision to use English as the medium of instruction. English became the wedge that separated the Filipinos from their past and later to separate educated Filipinos from the masses of their countrymen. Nang dahil sa wikang Ingles, pati ang ating pananaw sa buhay ay nabago rin. With American textbooks, Filipinos started learning not only new language but also a new way of life, alien to their traditions and yet a caricature of their models. This was the beginning of their education. At the same time, it was the beginning of their miseducation, for they learned no longer as Filipinos but as colonials. Ang pagkatuto ng mga Pilipino ay hindi bilang mamamayang Pilipino, kundi bilang mamamayan ng isang bansang sakop nito. At kasabay ng pagkatuto ay ang pag-alis ng iyong pagiging makabayan at maging mabuting mamamayan ng kolonyang bansa. The ideal colonial was the carbon copy of his conqueror, the conformist follower of the new dispensation. The new Filipino generation learned of the lives of American heroes, sang American songs, and dreamt of snow and Santa Claus. The lives of Philippine heroes were taught, but their nationalist teachings were glossed over. Spain was the villain, America was the savior. To this day, our history still glossed over the atrocities committed by American occupation troops such as the water cure and the reconcentration camps. Sa larawan po, makikita natin kung ano pong ibig sabihin ng water cure. Dito po, ang bihag na Pilipino ay sapilitang pinapainom ng tubig hanggang siya po ay mamatay. Ito po ay isang uri ng torture. At ang reconcentration camps po naman, dito po sa larawan makikita nyo, ay ang mga bihag na Pilipino, mga indigenous people, at sila po ay nakahanda sa firing squad. Ang reconcentration camps po ay isang lugar kung saan sama-sama ang mga bihag at doon gagawin ang pag-torture. Kaya kahit anong paghubog ating gawin sa ating pambansang pagkakakilanlan, kung may taliwas ang interes o masang-ayon sa nananaig na kapangyarihan, ay walang mararating ito. Kaya nga ito ang dahilan kung bakit ang paglaban ng ating mga ninuno noong panahon ng Kastila ay natabunan dahil sa ilalim ng kolonyalismong Amerikano. We read about them as we were tourists in a foreign land. Economic attitudes. Control of the economic life of a colony is basic to colonial control. May mga bansang malupit ang naging pagsasagawa nila ng pagsakop, hindi tulad ng mga Amerikano na iba sa lahat. Halimbawa nito ay ang pagkakaroon ng malayang kalakalan o free trade. The economic motivations of the American in coming to the Philippines were not at all admitted to the Filipinos. Bakit nga ba? Dahil may balak na ba silang sakupin tayo ng mga panahon na iyon? As a matter of fact, from the first school days until the soldier teachers to the present, Philippine history books have portrayed America as a benevolent nation who came here only to save us from Spain and to spread amongst us the boons of liberty and democracy. The almost complete lack of understanding at present of those economic motivations and of the presence of American interest in the Philippines are the most eloquent testimony to the success of the education for colonials which we have undergone. What economic attitudes were fostered by American education? It is interesting to note that during the times that the school attempts to inculcate an appreciation for things Philippine, the picture that is presented for the child's admiration is an idealized picture of a rural Philippines, as pretty and as unreal as an Amorsolo painting with its Carabao, its smiling healthy farmer, the winsome Barulas in the bright clean Patadyong, and the sweet Nipa hut. So ito po yung larawang dinescribe ng mga Amerikano sa Pilipinas. That is the portrait of the Filipino that our education lives in the minds of the young and hurts in two ways. First, it strengthened the belief that the Philippines is essentially meant to be an agricultural country and we cannot and should not change that. Masikip mang isipin na para bang ang pag-unlad ay hindi nababagay sa isang bansang tulad ng Pilipinas dahil ang paniniwala ng mga ninuno natin ay hindi angkop ang Pilipinas sa isang ekonomiyang industrial. Second, this idealized picture of farm life never emphasizes the poverty, the disease, the cultural vacuum, the sheer boredom, the superstition and ignorance of backward farm communities. Ito ay maaaring pananaw lamang ng isang taong lumaki sa lungsod at nakapag-aral doon. With American education, the Filipinos were not only learning new language, they were not only forgetting their own language, they were starting to become a new type of American. Unti-unti ay nabago ng Amerikano, pati ang mga bagay na nakahiligan natin. Our consumption habits were molded by the influx of cheap American goods that came in duty-free. Tinanggap natin ng maluwag ang mga produktong galing sa kanilang bansa at yung nakasanayan nating pagluwas ng mga raw products o materials at ang napagbilihan naman nito ang siyang pangbibili natin ng produkto. Hindi man lang sumagi sa isipan ng ating mga ninuno na ang ating bansa ay maaari ding maging industrialisado dahil natatak na sa kanilang kaisipan na ang ating bansa ay pang-agrikultural lamang. We never thought that we too could industrialize because in school we were taught that we were primarily an agricultural country by geographical location and by the innate potentiality of our people. Tulad ng bansang Hapon na minsan ang sumakop sa atin ay isa na ring maunlad na bansa tulad ng Amerika, Alemanya at Inglaterra. Ang bansang Hapon na siyang nagpatalsik sa dawyang Amerikano sa ating bansa noong ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig. Ngunit mas naniwala pa rin tayo sa mga kolonyalismong Amerikano. Transplantation of political institutions. American education, in effect, transplanted American political institutions and ideas into the Philippines. Ayon sa talumpati ni Claro M. Recto sa University of the Philippines, dahil sa pagwawalang bahala ng mga Pilipino, ay malayang napatatag ng mga Amerikano ang rehimeng kolonyal sa politika at nakalimutan ang tunay na adhikain natin na magkaroon ng tunay na panghabang panahong kalayaan. The Americans were confronted with the dilemma of transplanting their political institutions and yet luring the Filipinos into a state of captivity. Pilit iwinaksi sa isipan ng ating mga ninuno na ang institusyong pampolitika ng mga Amerikano ang siyang nakabuti sa kanilang bansa. Indigenous institutions which could have led to the evolution of native democratic ideas and institutions were disregarded. We have been made to believe in certain political doctrines as absolute and the same for all peoples. An example of this is the belief in the freedom of the press. Re-examination demanded. The new demands for economic emancipation and the assertion of our political sovereignty leave our educators no other choice but to re-examine their philosophy, their values, and their general approach to the making of the Filipino who will institute, support, and preserve the nationalist aims. Dahil ang sistema ng edukasyong pinairal sa Pilipinas noon ay hindi angkop sa sistemang pampolitikal na nagaganap sa bansa. What then are the nationalist tasks for Philippine education? Education must both be seen not as an acquisition of information but as the making of man so that he may function most effectively and usefully within his own society. Education cannot be divorced from the society of a definite country at a definite time. Kaya hindi natin maaaring sabihin na kung ano ang katangian ng isang edukadong Amerikano ay maging katulad din ng isang edukadong Pilipino. Lagi nating tatandaan na mga tao ay may kanya-kanyang katangian. But what happened in this country? Not only do we imitate Western education, we have patterned our education after the most technologically advanced Western nations. Pero masasabi pa rin natin na magkaiba sila ng adhikain para sa kani-kanilang bansa. Adoption of Western values. First, economically, the U.S. is an industrial nation. It is a fully developed nation, economically speaking. Our country has a colonial economy with a tiny industrial base. In other words, we are backward and underdeveloped. Masasabing hindi pa rin ganap na maunlad ang ating bansa. Second, politically. The U.S. is not only master of its own house, its control and influence extends to many other countries all over the world. The Philippines has only lately emerged from formal colonial status, and it still must complete its political and economic independence. Hanggang ngayon ay nangingibabaw pa rin ang kolonyalismong Amerikano sa ating politika. And third, culturally, the US has a vigorously and distinctively American culture. It is a nation whose cultural institutions have developed freely, indigenously, without control and direction from foreign sources, whose ties to its cultural past are clear and proudly celebrated because no foreign power has imposed upon its people. A wholesale inferiority complex because no foreign culture has been superimposed upon it, destroying, distorting its own past, and alienating the people from their own cultural heritage. Malayo ito sa kulturang ating nakagistan. Ano nga bang katangian ng edukasyon ang sasang-ayon para sa ating kalagayang pangkabuhayan, pampolitika at pangkultura? Paano ito makakatulong sa pag-unlad ng ating bansa? By virtue of its leadership and its economic interest in many parts of the world, the United States has an internationalist orientation based securely on a well-grounded, long-held nationalistic viewpoint. United States education has no urgent need to stress the development of American nationalism in its young people. Economically, politically, culturally, the US is the master of its own house. American education, therefore, understandably lays little emphasis on the kind of nationalism we Filipinos need. Dahil sa sobrang makapangyarihan ng Estados Unidos, ay nabaliwala ang nasyonalismo na kailangan ng mga Pilipino. Instead, it stresses internationalism and underplays nationalism. This sentiment is noble and good, but when it is inculcated in a people who have either forgotten nationalism or never imbibed it, it can cause untold harm. Ilan sa mga salik tulad ng pandaigdigang pagkakapatiran ang walang matatag na pundasyon ng nasyonalismo. At iba pa ay patunay na hindi naging maganda ang dulot nito. Chief among these is the transformation of our national virtue of hospitality into a stupid vice which hurts us and makes us the willing dupes of predatory foreigners. Un-Filipino Filipinos. We complacently allow aliens to gain control of our economy. Malugod nating tinanggap ang mga dayuhan at hinayaan na sila ay mamuno sa ating bansa. Ipinagmalaki natin ang ating natutuhan sa kanila. Ngunit may Pilipinong namuno para sa sarili nating nasyonalismo. May sumuporta ba sa kapwa Pilipino? No, there is apathy because there is no nationalism in our hearts, which will spur us to protect and help our countrymen first. Masakit sabihin pero wala tayong pakialam. Worst, some Filipinos will even worry about the sensibilities of foreigners lest they think ill of us for supposedly discriminating against them. And worst of all, many Filipinos will even oppose nationalistic legislation either because they have become the willing servants of foreign interests or because, in their distorted view, we Filipinos cannot progress without the help of foreign capital and foreign entrepreneurs. Ganito natin pinahalagahan ang mga dayuhang Amerikano dahil sa kanilang nagawang pagbabago sa ating bansa. In this part of the world, we are well-nigh unique in our generally non-nationalistic outlook. What is the source of this shameful characteristic of ours? One important source is surely the schools. There is little emphasis on nationalism. Patriotism has been taught us, yes, but in general terms of love of country, respect for the flag, appreciation for the beauty of our countryside, and other similarly innocuous manifestations of our nationality. Ang naituro sa paaralan tungkol sa ating pagiging makabayan ay hindi sapat dahil mas naging matimbang ang pagtuturo ng ideolohiyang pangdayuhan. The pathetic results of this failure of Philippines education is a citizen amazingly naive and trusting in its relation with foreigners, devoid of the capacity to feel indignation even in the face of insults to the nation, ready to acquiesce and even to help aliens in the despoliation of our national wealth. Bakit nga ba walang nabahala o nagtaka man lang sa pagkontrol ng dayuhan sa ating ekonomiya? Dahil ba ito sa kolonyal na edukasyon? Colonial education has not provided us with a realistic attitude toward other nations, especially Spain and the United States. The emphasis in our study of history has been on the great gift that our conquerors have bestowed upon us. A mask of benevolence was used to hide the cruelties and deceit of early American occupation. Ang namutawi sa ating kaisipan ay ang mabubuti at magagandang nagawa ng mga dayuhang Amerikano na ikubli sa atin ang mga kalupitan at kaapihang kanilang ginawa sa ating mga ninuno. The myth of friendship and special relations is even now continually invoked to camouflage the continuing iniquities in our relationship. Nurtured in this kind of education, the Filipino mind has come to regard centuries of colonial status as a grace from above rather than a scourge. Kaya hindi nakakapagtaka na malaman natin sa ating mga leader tulad ni Claro M. Recto, ang paraan ng ating paglaya sa dayuhang ito ay nahirapang unawain at intindihin ng ilang mamamayang Pilipino. The American architects of our colonial education labored shrewdly and well. The language problem. The most vital problem that has plagued Philippine education has been the question of language. Hanggang sa kasulukuyan ay usapan pa rin kung ano ba ang mainam na gamitin, ang wikang Ingles o ang wikang Filipino. But here, so great has been our disorientation caused by our colonial education that the use of our own language is a controversial issue, with more Filipinos against than in favor. Again, as in the economic field, Filipinos believe they cannot survive without America. So in education, we believe no education can be true education unless it is based on proficiency in English. Ihalimbawa na lang natin yung sinabi ni Rizal kay Simon nung panahon ng pananakop ng mga Kastila. Ayon kay Rizal, ang paghingi ng pantay na karapatang mapa-Kastila ay isang halimbawa ng pagpapatiwakal, pagdurog sa pagiging makabayan at pagtakwil sa inang bayan. Ayon pa kay Rizal, ay ano ang paggagamitan ng wikang Kastila? Siya na nagsasalita sa wikang iyon ay makakalimutan ng kanyang sariling wika. Ano man ang nasabi ni Rizal ay maaari na rin natin ihalin tulad sa paggamit natin ng wikang Ingles. It is indeed unfortunate that teaching the native language is given up to second grade only, and the question of whether beyond this it should be English or Filipino is still unsettled. Many of our educational experts have written on the language problem, but there is an apparent timidity on the part of these experts to come out openly for the urgent need of discarding the foreign language as the medium of instruction in spite of remarkable results shown by the use of the native language. The deleterious effects of using English as the medium of instruction are many and serious. Just like what I have said earlier, what Rizal said about Spanish has been proven to be equally true for English. Barrier to democracy. Under the system maintained by Spanish in the Philippines, educational opportunities were so limited that learning became the possession of a chosen few. This enlightened group was called the Ilustrados. There was a wide gap between the Ilustrados and the masses. They constituted, they constituted the elite. Most of them came from the wealthy class because this was the only class that could afford to send its son abroad to pursue their higher learning. Many of the Ilustrados led the propaganda movement, but they were mostly reformers who wanted reforms within the framework of Spanish colonialism. Karamihan sa mga Ilustrado ay naging alipin din ng edukasyong Kastila at edukasyong Amerikano. Many of them were the first to capitulate to the Americans and the first leaders of the Filipinos during the early years of American regime came from this class. Nang sa kalaunan ay nasanay rin sila sa paggamit ng edukasyong Amerikano. One of the ostensible reason for imposing English as the medium of instruction was the fact that English was the language of democracy, that through this tongue the Filipinos would imbibe the American way of life, which makes no distinction between rich and poor, and which gives equal opportunities. Sinasabing ang mga Ilustrado ay unti-unting mawawala dahil ang lahat ay mabibigyan ng pagkakataon na makapag-aral. Ngunit parang hindi nangyari iyon. English perpetuated the existence of the Ilustrados, American Ilustrados who, like their counterparts, were strong supporters of the way of life of the new motherland. Now we have a small group of men who can articulate their thoughts in English, a wider group who can read and speak in fairly comprehensible English, and a great mass that hardly expresses itself in any language. All of these groups are hardly articulate in their native tongues because of the neglect of our native dialects, if not the deliberate attempts to prevent their growth. The result is a leadership that fails to understand the needs of the masses because it is a leadership that can communicate with the mass only in general and vague terms. Isa ito sa dahilan kung bakit hindi nagkakaunawaan ang mga sinaunang leader at mga mamamayan. English has created a barrier between the monopolist of power and the people. English has become a status symbol, while the native tongues are looked down upon. English has given rise to a bifurcated society of fairly educated men and the masses who are easily swayed by them. Isang malaking patunay na hindi lahat ng mamamayan ay nakakaunawa ng wikang Ingles. Kaya mapapansin na wikang katutubo ang gamit ng ilang politiko sa pakikipag-usap sa mamamayan. Lacking mastery of the dialect, the politician merely deals in generalities. Because of their lack of command of English, the masses have gotten used to only half understanding what is said to them in English. They appreciate the sounds without knowing the sense. Sana ay naisip ng mga ninuno natin na unawain ang problemang kinakaharap ng ating bansa. Because of the language barrier, therefore, they are content to leave everything to the leaders. This is one of the root causes of their apathy, their religionalism or parochialism. English, which was supposedly envisioned as the language of democracy, in our country, a barrier to the full flowering of democracy. Ang wikang Ingles na kung saan ay tinitingala ng ilang Pilipino noon ay siyang naging hadlang sa pag-unlad ng demokrasya sa ating bansa. Impediments to thoughts. A foreign language is an impediment to instruction. Sagabal nga ba ang pagtuturo ng wikang Ingles? Noon ay masasabing mas inuunang matutunan sa paaralan ang wikang Ingles kaysa sa wikang patutubo. This does not mean that foreign language should not be taught. Foreign language should be taught and can be taught more easily after one has mastered his own tongue. From 1935, when the Institute of National Language was organized, the feeble attempts have been made to abandon the teaching of English. Our educators seem to constantly avoid the subject of language, in spite of the clear evidence of rampant ignorance among the products of the present educational system. This has resulted in the denial of education to a vast number of children who, after the primary grades, no longer continue schooling, in spite of the fact that the national language today is understood all over the country. No one is brave enough to advocate its use as the medium of instruction. There are arguments about the dearth of materials in the national language, but these are feeble arguments that merely disguise the basic opposition of our educational leaders to use of what is native. The products of the Philippine educational system, barring very few exemptions, are Filipinos who do not have a mastery of English because it is foreign, and who do not have a mastery of their native tongue because of the deliberate neglect of those responsible for the education of the citizens of the nation. A foreign tongue as a medium of instruction constitutes an impediment to learning and to thinking because the student first has to master new sounds, new inflections, and new sentence constructions. His innermost thoughts find difficulty of expression, and lack of expression in turns prevents the further development of thought. Kaya nga noong mga panahon na iyon ay hindi pa ganap na nauunawaan ng mga ninuno natin ang ilang aklat at periodiko na nakasulat sa wikang Ingles. Hindi rin sanay makipag-usap gamit ang wikang banyaga. Language is a tool of the thinking process. Through language, thought develops, and the development of thought leads to further development of language. But when a language becomes a barrier of thought, the thinking process is impeded or retarded, and we have the resultant cultural stagnation. Creative thinking, analytical thinking, abstract thinking are not fostered because the foreign language makes the student prone to memorization. Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Marami sa mga mag-aaral noon ang nag-aaral lamang para pumasa at nakatapos ng kurso. Ngunit ang pag-aunawa sa pag-aaral ay wala. Bakit? Dahil ang wikang Ingles ay ginagamit lamang sa loob ng silid-aralan. Ngunit paglabas nito sa silid, ay ibang wikan ang gagamitin sa pakikipag-usap sa tao. At ang natutunan sa loob ng silid-aralan ay hindi naman niya magamit para masolusyonan ang problema ng kanyang bayan. Our Institute of National Language is practically neglected. It should be one of the main pillars of an independent country. Our educators are worried about proposing the immediate adoption of the national language as the medium of instruction because of what they consider as opposition of other language groups. This is indicative of our colonial mentality. Our educators do not see any opposition to the use of foreign language, but fear opposition to the use of the national language just because it is based on one of the main dialects. Isang halimbawa nito ay kung mapapansin natin sa ngayon, marami na ang tumatangkilik sa mga pelikulang Pilipino at nagkaroon pa ng festival tuwing sasapit ang Pasko. Makikita natin na purong pelikulang Pilipino lamang ang pinapalabas sa sinehan. Kung ito ay nagtaguyod noong unang panahon, malamang masasabi natin na ganap na nagampanan ng inang wika ang kanyang papel. Language is the main problem, therefore. Experience has shown that children who are taught in their native tongue learn more easily and better than those taught in English. Records of the Bureau of Public Schools will support this, but mere teaching in the national language is not enough. There are other areas that demand immediate attention. Philippine history must be rewritten from the point of view of the Filipino. Our economic problems must be presented in the light of nationalism and independence. These are only some of the problems that confront the nationalist approach to education. Government leadership and supervision is essential. Our educators need the support of legislators in this regard. Kung magkakaganon, kailangan bigyang pansin ang mga pribadong paaralan. The private sector. Before the Second World War, products of the Philippine public school system looked down upon their counterparts in the private schools. Ito po isang pananaw lamang. It is generally accepted that graduates of the public school at the same time were superior to the products of the private institutions in point of learning. There were exclusive private institutions, but they were reserved for the well-to-do. These schools did not necessarily reflect superiority of instruction, but they reflected superiority of social status. Karamihan na nakapag-aral sa pampublikong paaralan noon ay mulat sa usaping pambansa at nasa kaisipan nila ang makabayang tradisyon. Hindi tulad ng nakapag-aral sa pribadong paaralan noon na para bang walang pakialam sa suliraning kinakaharap ng bansa dahil nakatutok sila sa kolonyalismong Amerikano. Today, public schools are looked down upon. Only the poor send their children to these schools. Those who can afford it or those who have social pretensions send their children to private institution. Ito po ay namalas ng panahon ng pananakop ng mga Amerikano. There were two concomitant tendencies that went with this trend. First was the commercialization of education. A lowering of standards resulted because of the inadequate facilities of the public schools and the commercialization in the private sector. It is a well-known fact that classes in many private schools are packed and teachers are overloaded in order to maximize profits. Bumaba ang kalidad ng edukasyon sa pampublikong paaralan dahil walang sapat na pasilidad at nakakapagtakang biglang dumami ang nakapag-aral sa pribadong paaralan. Second, some private schools which are owned and operated by foreigners and whose social science courses are handled by aliens flourished. The proliferation of private schools and the simultaneous deterioration of public schools have resulted not only in lower standards but also in a definitely un-Filipino education. Bakit? Dahil ang pagkakaroon ng maraming pribadong paaralan noon ay nangangahulugan lamang na business as usual at hindi para sa pagkakaroon ng kalidad na edukasyon. Other educational media. While the basic defect in the educational system has been responsible for the lack of nationalist ideals, there are other media and facilities that negate whatever gains are made in some sectors of the educational field. The almost unilateral source of news, films, and other cultural materials tends to distort our perspective. American films and comics, American press services, fellowships in America have all contributed to the almost total Americanization of our attitudes. A distinct Filipino culture cannot prevail if an avalanche of Western cultural materials suffocates our relatively funny efforts in this direction. Ilan lamang ito sa mga dahilan kung bakit mahina ang sistema ng edukasyon noon sa ating bansa. Needed Filipinos. The education of the Filipino must be a Filipino education. It must be based on the needs of the nation and the goals of the nation. The object is not merely to produce men and women who can read and write, or who can add and subtract. The primary object is to produce a citizenry that appreciates and is conscious of its nationhood and has national goals for the betterment of the community, and not an anarchic mass of people who know how to take care of themselves only. Marami na tayong narinig na kwento nila Rizal at Bonifacio kung paano nila pinaglaban ang ating kalayaan laban sa mga mapang-aping mga dayuhan. Ngunit hindi na ituro sa atin ang kahalagahan ng kanilang buhay sa kasalukuyang suliranin ng bansa. Ito ba ay mahalaga na malaman ng ating mga mag-aaral? We have learned to use American criteria for our problems, and we look at our prehistory and our past with the eyes of a visitor. A lot of information is learned, but attitudes are not developed. Just like what I have said earlier, nag-aaral lamang ang mga mag-aaral noon para lamang makakuha ng diploma. Marami mang natutuhan pero hindi sapat para mabuksan ang ating kaisipan sa pagiging makabayan. They tried to learn facts, but the patriotic attitude is not acquired because of too much emphasis on forms. Now the question is, what should be the basic objective of education in the Philippines? Is it merely to produce men and women who can read and write? If this is the only purpose, then education is directionless. Wala itong patutunguhan. Education should first of all assure national survival. Mahalaga na tiyak ang ating kaligtasan sa lahat ng oras. No amount of economic and political policy can be successful if the educational program does not imbue prospective citizens with the proper attitudes that will ensure the implementation of these goals and policies. Paano ang mga kabataan na inaasahan ng pag-asa ng bayan? Philippine educational policies should be geared to the making of Filipinos. These policies should see to it that schools produce men and women with minds and attitudes that are attuned to the needs of the country. Sa mga nagdaang panahon, lalo na sa panahon ng pananakop ng Amerikano, namulat ang ating mga ninuno na ang mga dayuhang ito lamang ang makapangyarihan at sila lamang ang dinadakila. Hindi na ituro sa kanila ang tamang adhikain at pananaw ng tunay na edukasyon. Hindi nila nakita ang tunay na kulay ng mga dayuhan na ito. We must now think of ourselves, of our salvation, of our future, and unless we prepare the minds of the young for this endeavor, we shall always be pathetic people with no definite goals and no assurance of preservation. That's why our curriculum designers must develop with an educational system that is 100% Filipino, wherein Filipinos must stimulate and develop our nationalism and love for our country. Furthermore, developing a critical consciousness towards equality and justice. At dahil po dito, napukaw ang damdamin ni Professor Renato Constantino. The Filipino education must be a Filipino education. It must be based on the needs and goals of the nation. Ang primary objective dapat ay makabuo ng isang solidong nasyon kung saan ma-appreciate at alam kung ano ang nakakabuti sa ating bansa. Philippine education therefore must produce Filipinos who are aware of the country's problems and who understand the basic solutions for these problems. Filipinos who care enough and have courage to work and sacrifice for the country. Ito ang pinaglaban ni Professor Renato Constantino. They must provide every Filipino with an educational system that would arouse and develop our nationalism. Maraming salamat po.